how has dating been during the quarantine? It's been amazingly the same as before the quarantine. So essentially, I mean, actually, it's been a little more ridiculous, I think. So, of course, everyone's online. Before, like the end of 2019, I decided to do like sort of a pause. I had like this singleness moment and I was good and I was doing some other things and I was hustling, and that, which is cool. So I just was like, whatever. So the start of the 2020, I got my hair cut. I, was thinking I'm gonna, I'm meeting certain financial goals. So I'm gonna get back out there. I started doing a lot of speed dating and trying to meet people in person in 2019. But essentially, how people date nowadays is online. So I revamped my profiles. I started putting more up to date pictures and just trying to change some things. I think I had my profile and I had like I was open to kids or I wanted kids. So I put more that I'm open to it, even though I'm very grateful for what I'm blessed with. Meaning it has to be God to say you're married and you're having some more kids naturally. So that's a whole nother story. Anyways, so dating during a quarantine or this pandemic has been such an interesting experience. It's been a kind of a lot of the same, but I've had different type of. I'm sorry if you hear that. My son's playing games in the house. The walls are thin. He's playing video games. But anyways, it's been sort of like kind of interesting. So essentially, it almost seems like there's way more people online, which makes sense. People at home, so why not just start a profile? But I've gotten some really interesting hits from people, like just off the bat. Like there have been some, hey, can I come over? I'm like, there's a pandemic. There's the coronavirus. Like, no, of course not. I've been getting a lot of hits from a lot of younger guys. So I turned 39 tomorrow. So I'm like, I've been getting hits from like guys in their 20s. And no, I don't think it's because I'm all that. I just think either just people got a bunch of foolishness in. I've gotten a lot of people wanting to do sexual things. I'm like, did they not read my profile? So anyway, so it's been really interesting on that and on that front as far as like people just being very upfront. I mean, they're normally kind of ridiculous, but even more. But just the thought of if you do meet someone, I think I met this guy. He seems really nice and we're sort of starting off in like the friend modes. We're now to the texting stage and things like that. So I mean, I'm just trying to be cool and not put too much thought into it. But the question is like, I want to meet people as soon as possible. So essentially, the next best thing is to do video chat or FaceTime or Skyping of some sort. So hopefully, if this guy that I'm talking to, we'll move on to that. But we'll see if I have any updates. Like right now, I think the thoughts are people are lonely and bored and maybe it's have these weird situations and they just want to reach out to another person and online dating is easy. I actually got an invitation from professionals in the city, which I normally go to a lot of their speed dating events, like in the DMV, like a DC, Maryland, or Virginia. I got an email for virtual speed dating. So I'm going to sign up for one of those. They got to make that money too. It's like essentially they just use Zoom and they kind of put you in your own different rooms with the different individuals. And I only know about that because our church uses Zoom for the class that my son and I are taking, spiritual gifts, and we had to break off in small groups. And I was like, how are they going to do that? And I guess they had already put us in our small groups and at a certain time when we broke off, we were with that group in a Zoom and then we came back to the whole class. So anyways, so that's essentially it. Like dating in the quarantine to me hasn't been any different other than people seem a lot more a lot more ridiculous. I had this one guy, I thought he was really nice, Northern Virginia. He really wanted to meet up in this pandemic. He was just like, you scared, you scared. And I was just like, yeah, exactly. It's not looking too good for, Black people. Like this, so, not to be funny, but like, yeah. And he was like, this little thing is going to scare you. Like you could just put a face mask on. I'm like, no. So I end up just not, answering him. And you get the usual people that I guess there's certain sites where you can see if a person has clicked on you, and then they can see that you looked at them and maybe you didn't follow up. And they're like, man, I didn't get a look, or dag. And I'm just like, I don't take offense. If I click on someone, whether I know that they looked at my email, my whatever, my hello or wink or smile, I don't follow up with them like, hey, couldn't get a hello. I just kind of let it go. So anyway, so that's all I have to say. This is maybe part one, and maybe I'll continue, but so far the dating has been just more of the same and almost a little bit more crazy. I do plan to, what was my plans? Let me tell you guys what my plans were. I was like, man, my son has a life. Like, I was like, my son has a life. Like, he has a life. So I am going to really make this him. My bestie's married. She got a new house. She doing things. I'm so proud of her. And, my other homegirl, she's looking to move, get transferred to another state, and my other friend, she found love on this online site. This guy was really good to her. So I'm just like, man, it's time for me to kind of like just get back out there, at least enjoy just be in a like meeting people, even if I had like a traveling partner or someone to go in the city. I used to have a lot of friends, a lot of male friends that I would hang out with, but they're now in relationships or married. And all of my girlfriends, they are too. So I was like, man, at least I could just be at that point. So I was thinking I saw this package for Arthur Murray. Arthur Murray, it's like a dance company. So they had this package that was really good, like to do group dancing sessions. And then I had all these speed dating dates I was going to go to in DC. I like the DC ones better. Maryland, Baltimore, DC and Northern Virginia are really, like, you just meet really quality people, really interesting people. Baltimore, you meet interesting people, but, I'm gonna leave it there. Everybody's got their thing. And so I was going to do that. And what was the other thing I was going to do? And like I said, just open to, if somebody asks me out and they seem decent, just kind of going out and stuff like that. So that kind of was like my whole mantra in 2020. Is like, I got a new do, da 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 da. And I'm meeting a lot of my financial goals, and I'm trying to get my weekends back, because I still do part-time work, but I was doing like Domino's. So I really did, my weekends were just gone, and then church, and it was like over. So now that I'm not doing Domino's, if you all are ordering from Domino's during this pandemic or any food services, please tip, and just keep them in your prayers. My comrades are out there. And anyways, but yeah, I just wanted to give y'all a little part one, and I will definitely maybe video or record if I do a virtual speed dating, because I think the whole concept is actually quite interesting. It's almost like I don't know if anybody's in like some of their jobs who can telework and then you do the Zoom or the Saturday Night Live. If you saw how they had the little squares, and so it's just really interesting to me. But anyways, other guys, I'm just really, really grateful. I know a lot of people are struggling during this time, and you're feeling like isolated and you're getting depressed. But get in some virtual chats. It doesn't have to be romantic in a romantic capacity, but it could be, different. If you like certain things. A friend of mine, she's a doll enthusiast, so she likes dolls. So get in a chat about dolls, or if you're into the news, or whatever it is. So you can at least be connected, or do Facebook Lives, or join people's Facebook Lives. And I'm not a social media person by any means. And if you're not, but just for this period, so you're connected, that's not a bad idea. if you play video games, like my son, he does the live, and so he can talk to people while he's playing video games. You could do that playing different card games or like e-chess, or you can do talk to people playing any games actually nowadays. But I just wanted to give you guys an update, and yeah, dating is still rough out in these streets. And sadly to say, it hasn't really changed since the quarantine. Okay, I'll keep you guys posted. Bye.